Hello everyone, my name is Devashish Roy. I'm the head of training and development at the Indian Cybersecurity Solution, and I welcome you all to this special webinar today. And today's topic is a very interesting one, that is the AWS Network Firewall setup and use cases. So we'll discuss about the firewall technology and what is there in the cloud, because firewall is there in the simple networking, the traditional networking. Also, it is there in the cloud. So firewall is a network defense. Like if you want to say permit or deny any network or any access from outside or inside. Say I do not want others to view my servers or access my servers, or I do not want that my persons or my employees will not be able to say access the other servers in the internet. Say they won't be able to do any internet activity, or they won't be able to do any FTP server access, or they won't be able to say access any such particular website like LinkedIn or Facebook. I can block that. So let's deep dive into this firewall technology. So we'll discuss AWS Network Firewall, setup and use cases, and we'll explore the implementation and practical applications of AWS Network Firewall for enhanced security. So there are many types of firewall, like application gateway firewall that is actually filtering your different applications. Like say, for example, you are using any FTP client. You are using, say, for example, FileZilla to upload or downloading files. So that applications filtering firewall filters your traffic. And here we are going to talk about the network firewall as a whole. So what is AWS Network Firewall all about? AWS Network Firewall is a managed service designed to enhance the security of your Amazon virtual private cloud. Because see, the firewall is to be installed at the network level. Now, when you are talking about network, what do you mean by that? You mean a subnet or a subnetwork. So subnetwork in the AWS environment, it is the VPC or the virtual private cloud. So we have to create a VPC. See, we can attach the network firewall at the VPC level. That is a default VPC. That is okay. But if you want, you can customize that. You can create your own VPC and you can create the firewall. You can attach the firewall with that. It allows users to establish and enforce comprehensive network traffic rules like incoming and outgoing. Like it is like the security group rule. You can say it is in the EC2 instance. There is a security group rule. So network security group NSG, that is like the firewall, but it is not completely the firewall. But here I'm going to talk about the completely different firewall, that is a full-fledged firewall. There is a network firewall, and it has the same incoming and outgoing rules, ensuring the protection of vital resources against unauthorized access and threats. So if anybody is trying to access your resources in unauthorized manner, definitely you won't be able to do it. Now, what are the key features of AWS Network Firewall? First of all, it is stateful inspection of traffic. Like AWS Network Firewall performs stateful inspection. Now, what is about the stateful and stateless? It means that it keeps track of the state of active connections and makes decision based on the context of the traffic. What does it mean? It means that some traffic is coming into the firewall. It is passing through the firewall, and the firewall, it logs the source, destination IP, the port number in particular. So the source port, destination port, all these things. So it is logged. So each time you do not have to do the same request again. So the same traffic pattern is passing, and the firewall will actually log that, yes, I recognize this traffic. It was the same traffic that I encountered before. So every now and then you do not need to say specify the source port, destination port, source IP, destination IP, these things. That is the stateful. This enhances the security posture by allowing only legitimate traffic to pass through, okay, while blocking malicious packets. Centralized management, that is another feature. AWS Management Console provides a centralized interface for configuring managing the firewall. I will show it in a bit. And this user-friendly console allows for efficient rule management, monitoring, and policy updates. So definitely the AWS console has a GUI interface, and that GUI interface is actually there to actually help you to configure the firewall. Now, integration with AWS services, that is another feature. AWS Network Firewall integrates seamlessly with other AWS services such as the CloudWatch, we know that is the main monitoring service for the cloud, and the VPC flow log. And that flow log maintains a log record, log entry of the VPC only. So that is also like the CloudWatch monitoring, but CloudWatch is for the general. It is for all the general or the hardware specific network activities, but VPC flow log is actually for the VPC activities, for traffic insights. And it integration facilitates enhanced visibility and operational efficiency. Definitely, your operational efficiency, performance, everything will go up. Then customizable rules and policies means organizations can create customizable rules and policies specific tailored to the specific network security needs. So if I want to customize, yes, I can do it. Means in case of the RDP, if I can use the SSH, can I do that? Yes, I can. This flexibility allows for dynamic traffic filtering or application level filtering that I was talking about, and enhanced control over say, what traffic is allowed or denied within the network. So you could actually specify the traffic. Like in the network security group, we specify which rule to allow or deny. That you can do which traffic, RDP, SSH, HTTP, HTTPS, which type of telnet, any traffic that you want to allow or deny. Now, what are the benefits of using this AWS Network Firewall? So benefits are improved protection against threats, means the outside threat or attack, streamlined rule management process. So definitely you can manage the rules efficiently, the inbound and outbound rules, flexible pricing model benefits because this pricing model is flexible. So definitely it is not very costly. So it can cater to your specific needs and integrates with security services. Now, how to set up the AWS Network Firewall? So it's a step-by-step guide to effectively deploy the AWS firewall. So what is the first step? First, you have to create a VPC. Now, first, we have to design and set up your virtual private cloud to host the firewall. So if you want that default VPC to use, you can do it, no issue. But if you want to customize and create your own VPC, you can do it. Secondly, set up subnets for the firewall. Yes, definitely, because if there is only one VPC and you haven't added any subnet to it, it doesn't make any sense. So which subnet? 10.0, 10.1, 10.2, which subnet? Definitely, you have to establish dedicated subnets into your VPC for deploying the firewall, because in which subnet you want to deploy, definitely you won't be able to deploy it, say, in the 10.0. No, you have to deploy it, say, in the 10.10 network. You have to specify that. Configure firewall policies, definitely the rules. Define and customize your traffic filtering and security policies or rule, incoming, outgoing policies. Definitely you have to just specify and define or configure. Then deploy the firewall in the VPC. So once you are done with it, once you have created the VPC, once you have specified the rules, then you deploy the firewall in the VPC, then you are all done. So you are good to go. So launch the AWS Network Firewall and associate it with your created VPC. So you launch there so that it starts monitoring your traffic, that is the incoming and outgoing. Now, configuration steps overview. There is a structured approach to setting up AWS firewall. So what does this mean? Step one is define the network architecture, outline the layout of your VPC, including subnet and routing configuration. Definitely there is some route table. So as we know, so route table also you have to set up if you want that EC2 instance will access the internet. Then definitely you have to specify the internet gateways, or the route table you have to modify. Step two is create firewall rules that we have already discussed. Develop specific firewall rules that dictate how traffic will be managed, and filters based on the security needs. Means that you have to filter according to your need. Like you do not want to filter the HTTPS traffic, you do not need to block that, because that doesn't make any sense in your network. Step 3 is associate firewall with VPC. Link the configured firewall to VPC to activate its protection protocols. Step 4 is test configuration. Definitely you have to test it. In a production environment, definitely you cannot just deploy it suddenly without testing. So conduct thorough testing. You have to do repetitive testing of the firewall setup to validate that the rules are correctly enforced and is definitely working or functioning. Otherwise, if you haven't tested and without testing you have deployed it and nothing is working, so definitely it will backflow. So definitely it shouldn't backflow. So you should do the thorough testing. So this is about the firewall, how to configure, and let's discuss the common use cases for AWS Network Firewall. First is protecting web applications from DDoS attacks. So where it is used, we have deployed the firewall, but now we have to understand where to use it. Definitely the distributed denial of service attacks, where all other systems, same array of systems, target a single system. So that DDoS attack you have to prevent. AWS Network Firewall helps safeguards web applications from distributed denial of service attacks by filtering the malicious traffic and ensuring availability through predefined rules. So definitely the DDoS attack, that is the first step. As we know, in the cloud, this DOS attack was a very big problem for a long time. But now the load balancers now definitely help to lower down the risk, but still you need to have the firewall. Enforcing compliance regulations. The service allows organizations to enforce compliance regulations by implementing the necessary security controls and monitor network traffic. So if the compliance rules are there in organization, definitely you have to enforce it through the firewall regulations. Securing sensitive data transfers. Now, AWS Network Firewall secures sensitive data transfers between the system and the users by applying the encryption. So definitely the traffic should be encrypted, as we know, like in VPN also, in firewall also, the proper encryption mechanism should be set up. Otherwise, it is useless to set up a firewall basically. And strict access controls should be there to prevent data breaches and unauthorized access. And monitoring and continuous logging of network traffic. Yes. So if you have deployed the firewall and you are not monitoring it, so definitely it is not getting logged, or you are not doing any auditing. So later on you cannot find out whoever tried to unauthorized access. You cannot point it out. So the firewall provides robust monitoring and logging abilities. You should do the auditing, allowing organizations to analyze network traffic patterns, detect the anomalies, and respond to security incidents effectively. So, what are the best practices for the implementation? So, best is how to implement it. Regularly update firewall rules, because some firewall rules may be outdated. So, you haven't updated it for say 6 months or so. Like the antivirus, also, you have if you haven't upgraded the antivirus, or say if you haven't download the recent updates, so definitely it will not work. Monitor traffic patterns intelligently. So you have to monitor traffic patterns. You have to see that. Now network administrators log into that activities, and they generally say they deep dive into that insights. Utilize logging for compliance audits. Definitely auditing is very important. And implement multi-layer security, or you can say the multi-factor authentication. That is also a part. So this is about the, you can say, the theoretical aspect, theoretical discussion of the network firewall of the AWS. And now I would like to take you to the straight to the AWS console here. So as you can see here, this is AWS console, and in this console of mine, I can take you to the AWS. Just search network firewall. You can see in the VPC feature, in the VPC itself, it is the AWS network firewall is a feature there. So it's opening. So it is the VPC in the default VPC for now. Later on, if you want, you can customize AWS Network Firewall. So start using AWS Network Firewall. You can say, you can click on Create Firewall. Firewall details. You can give a firewall name. This is 234. You give any name and description you like. Click on Next. Attachment details is a VPC, or you can say the NAT transit gateway also. Right now, we are not going to that. We are just attaching it to the VPC. Let's say this is a 170.31, that is a default VPC you have. And also you have to add a new subnet or choose availability zone, say 1A subnet. This one is a default. You can add a new subnet if you want. Then you have to create a subnet, but right now I do not have that. So if you want, you have to create a subnet in the VPC level. Then go to the VPC, customize the VPC, and there you create a subnet. But now I'm taking the default subnet. This is the 172.31 default subnet, because I haven't created any such subnet. Go to next. And every zone is required. So every zone I have already given, but is not actually taking. choose an IP address, IPv4. Yes, this is how it happens. So that is why it was not taking IP address type. IPv4, IPv6 or dual stack means IPv4 and v6 both. Let be IPv4 for now. Protection against changes. So delete protection, enable. So anybody say protects the firewall from deletion. If enable network firewall won't delete the firewall. If it is in use, so it is enabled. So the firewall will continue to run. Subnet change protection protects the firewall against changes to a subnet association. If anybody tries to say remove the subnet association and reassociate with some say fictitious subnet, definitely it should not allow that. Traffic analysis, you can log in the data. You can go to the log analysis, and log type can be anything. It can be the alert, flow, anything, TLS, alert, log, destination. You can actually keep the data in the S3 bucket or CloudWatch log group or Kinesis engine. If you want to log the data, this is very important in case of the auditing, then you have to go to this S3 bucket name. Now, definitely I haven't made any S3 bucket, but in your case, you just make an S3 bucket and you give the bucket name. I have to give another name here, but the bucket is not there. Log destination. Again, you give a bucket name. File monitoring dashboard is enabled. And now this is an associated firewall policy that I was talking about. Create an associated firewall policy. Policy name, say this is policy 345. Enable active threat defense optional. So against known threats, it will protect you against known threats. Just enable it. And rule evaluation, it should be strict order. So, and drop action application drop. So definitely if some application is not matching the rules, you just drop it. So strict order recommend means the rules are processed in the order that you define, starting with the first rule. So like say the access control list, ACL in the Cisco, so that you just have the order first, second, third, fourth. This way the firewall is also here acting. If tags, it is optional, and review and create. Click on create firewall. See, the log destination does not exist because the S3 bucket is not there. So that is why it is giving error. So you have successfully created firewall. So I have made the firewall, but you have to create the bucket so that the log is there. The log monitoring is not there, and without the log monitoring is useless. So you can go to this firewall policy setting. You can see and stateless rule groups action. Then you have to create the stateless rule group. And let me see again. Firewall policy setting, and you can create the stateful also. Traffic analysis, yes, stateless and stateful rule, yes, you can do it. So there are a lot of things. Default action, so you can say edit. So set as default actions. What is about the fragmented package? Use the same action for all packets. You have to either forward to stateful rule groups or have to just deny. So there are many features there. So just apply the firewall, and you can see the firewall endpoints that is in the firewall subnet availability zone. So definitely in a lab or in one PC, you cannot just see the result of the firewall. It is difficult because you have to have some volume of traffic, some bulk of traffic, and you should set up the DMZ, demilitarized zone. That is a very secure zone where you keep your all the resources, your servers, your routers, and then you have to do the log analysis. In the log analysis, you have to just create the S3 bucket and you have to define the log so that you can see the results. So if the traffic is passing a large volume of traffic, then you can monitor. Not that you are just pinging one or two ping requests will not do it. So firewall state is still provisioning, so it is not ready for you. So it will take some time, and definitely it is chargeable. So it is not possible to deploy firewall for a long time without any such requirement. So if you are required, only then you deploy it. Otherwise, in a test case, you shouldn't deploy it for a long time because it will be charged. It's still in the provisioning state. So after some time, it will be definitely active. And as you can see in the virtual private cloud, you can have the subnet, root tables. This we already know. So you have to create this if you want to asset it with fully with the VPC. You have to create. Even you have this DNS firewall, all the things. We are talking about this network firewall and network firewall rule that I have already specified. I already have shown you these options. So in a production environment, I hope that definitely you'll be able to deploy it. You have to configure and deploy this firewall, and you have to put your resources maybe inside the two firewall, like one is for the DMZ and other is for say your LAN, because you cannot trust your LAN users fully. Also your LAN users can attack your systems, also your servers, routers. So there is a DMZ that is placed between the two firewall. DMZ is a very secure environment that we know in the network security, which have the servers, your routers, switches, and there is a second firewall that is actually behind the DMZ, and it is actually having all the LAN users. So you can do it as your choice. So that is in the provisioning state, and definitely after few minutes it will be provisioned, but it will not be working like a active firewall right now, because then you have to asset with the say the traffic that I have already told you. You have to deploy some servers, not only ping, because ping request will not be blocked, but you have to block some particular ports, like you will specify, like the HTTP, HTTPS, FTP, and then you have to test. So for that, a large deployment is necessary. So these are the options that I have shown you, that are definitely, I think it will be very helpful for you to deploy the firewall in practical environment. So I am definitely confident that you will be able to do it. So that is about say the main features of this AWS network firewall that I have discussed with you theoretically, and also practical. I've shown you the options. And there is an offer going on at the bottom of the screen. Don't miss this offer at this moment, because there is a flat 10% discount on the spot. AWS discount valid on the courses, and it is valid only till the 8 p.m. tonight. So everybody should avail this offer right now. And I'm the senior trainer of the AWS and the cloud computing, and I will take your classes here. So definitely, I hope that everybody should avail this offer and should enroll this course right now, because as you know, the cloud career is booming and cloud certifications are also on the very rise. And AWS Solution Architect Set is a very demanding certification. So that is it about from me about the AWS network firewall. And also another thing I'm like to inform you that there is a contest going on, and there is a questionnaire link that is shared with this form, this webinar. And if you can give 8 out of 10 uh, answers correctly of that questionnaire, you will be eligible for the certificate. So you should avail this offer also with that discount offer right now. So that is it from me about the AWS network firewall setup and use cases. That is a very important topic for your AWS solution architect set and professional certification, and also for the AWS network specialty, the security specialty certification. And as we know that cloud is a very emerging technology and everything is moving towards the cloud. So security is paramount to the cloud, as I always say. So I thank you all for watching and joining this webinar once again. And I hope that you have got very valuable information and insights from this webinar, and you'll be also able to deploy it practically in your organizations, and also it will be valuable for your training purpose. So that is it from me from now for this AWS network series. I'll come with some new topic next time. Till then, keep studying and bye.